Welcome to Car Sales Talk 101, where it's all about life in the car business. Telling you like it is. Here's the man with the plan, Terry Cameron. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Car Sales Talk 101. I'm Terry Cameron. Thanks for hanging out with me today. First, I want to apologize for it being so long since my last episode, but I've been really busy in both my personal and professional life. And quite frankly, it's getting tougher and tougher trying to come up with different subjects to talk about for each episode. It makes it a lot easier if you could help me out with that by going to Facebook or hit me up on email and tell me what you'd like me to talk about. I'll do the research. I'll get the information out as quickly as possible. So please help me out. While you're over there, why don't you hop onto Apple Podcast and write a review or at least leave me a rating. I do take everything that you guys say into consideration. So let's go ahead and get started. About 10 months ago, I left the new car dealership that I was at that was really rocking. And I guess you'd say I was out of the frying pan and into the fire. Because I went to a small, independent, pre-owned dealership to work with a real good friend of mine and try to get it turned around. And so far, we are moving in that direction. Now, in the role that I have there, I pretty much am a one-man show. Now, we have salespeople, but I also take ups. I also do my internet lead follow-ups. I'm a closer. I guess I've always been a closer, but I'm also the sales manager and the finance manager. So a lot of I'm interacting in a lot of different ways, and it's opening my eyes to lots of things that I see going wrong. Now, I also see a lot of good things happening. But if it's good, let's just keep on doing them. But I want to point out some other things that could help us sell some more cars and make some more money. Because after all, that's what we're in this for, is to make some money. But it just makes it even better when we can have fun doing it and get it done quicker. See, I always liked one of my previous dealers, what he said. Hey, Terry, the object of the game is to be on work on time and make money, have fun, and get out of here on time. If we can't get what we need taken care of in the 12 hours we're here each day, then it just doesn't need to be done. Now, sometimes that's true, but a lot of times we do have to hang around a little bit longer because we are at the mercy of the customer. So I want to talk about how we can get some deals turned around. These are things that I've been seeing over the past 10 months, especially with, especially with the newbies, with the green peas, but I see it with seasoned professionals too, because sometimes us seasoned professional people like to take shortcuts, or we think we can make do without following some of the processes, some of the steps. So let me talk about a couple things that I did see. And I'm sure if you're in a position like I am, you've seen this happen also. The first thing is on our credit applications. Why in the world do we wing it when we're filling out a credit application? What I mean by that is, why don't we get the complete information up front the first time? And when I talk about complete information, I'm talking about their name. Too many times. Now, in finance, if you're going to e-contract somebody, and in Texas, if you're going to be taking paperwork to the DMV, if it's not correct, it's just wasting a lot of people's time, and it's getting your office manager and your title clerk, not to mention general manager and owner, a little frustrated with how long it's taken to get some of these easy things taken care of. You know, it's almost like trying to do a job, and it should be an easy job, but only if you have the right tools. If you have to make do with subpar tools, things get a little bit tougher, and a lot of times it's just not done. So their name, let's talk about the customer's name. If they tell you the name is Bob, what do you think it could be? You need to ask those questions. Sir, Bob, is your legal name Robert? Find out if it is. I just recently had one done. Customer said, or the salesperson filled out the application and it was all done through the CRM. First name was Tim. That got pushed all the way through to when I was e-contracting them, and the paperwork was wrong because it had Tim. That's right. Customer's name was Timothy. So we got to do this right up front when we're entering the customer's information, when we're getting the title app or the credit application. Make sure you ask the questions. If it's Jim, is it really James? If it's Terry, is it really Terrence? You have to ask those questions. Here's some other things that we miss, and it really can affect the structure and quite possibly whether or not your deal gets approved or not. Ask them. are they a junior or a senior? Or are you the first, second, third, or fourth? You need to know that because a lot of times the credit between juniors and seniors, things like that, get commingled, and it screws it up. Sometimes it actually helps, but sometimes it hurts. So we want to make sure that is done right. I have to tell you a story about, and this talks a lot about some of the quality of our customers. I asked a customer if he was a junior or a senior, and he said, "No, I graduated about 8 years ago." So you got to be careful with who you're asking that to and make sure you get the right answer. The name is very, very important. Get it correct. Get the address correct. Get it correct. Ask just like everybody else does when they're asking for your address. Every other business, is it a house or is it an apartment? You got to find out, is it number 1155? Is it apartment A? Is it C? Whatever it might be, we need to know that. Because if you have that customer that may not be a 700 credit score or not even a 600 credit score, heck, I deal with customers with 400 credit scores on a daily basis. They're going to have to prove their residence. And whatever residence we submitted on the application, that's what they want to prove. And if it wasn't the right address, we just have to jump through a whole bunch more hoops to try to get it right. So you got to make sure the address is spelled right. And now while we're on the name and the address, use proper punctuation because that's exactly how everything gets pushed through the CRM into the DMS. Capitalize their first name, middle name, and their last name. Capitalize the name of their street. Use proper punctuation. Don't make it look like a third grader filled out the application or took the information from the customer. Professionals don't do that. Or should I say professionals should not do that. Now, here's another thing that really messes up a deal. Income. We ask customers about their income all the time. And I can tell you, whenever they give us that information, most of the time, and I mean really most of the time, it's wrong. Because what do customers really care about when it comes to income? They don't care about gross. They care about how much they're taking home. So if you're getting that take-home pay and we end up submitting a deal using that take-home pay, the deal gets conditioned. We have to cut it back. We have to get into our gross, which means get into your commission. Then it screws everything up. So don't just ask them how much they make. Make sure you find out if it's gross or net. And you might have to help them a little bit because some people don't understand the difference between gross and net. Get a copy of their pay stub. In today's day and age with the internet, they can always log on, or at least almost always log on somewhere and get a copy of their most recent pay stub. Get the proper income up front and watch your grosses go up. Next, one of my pet peeves really screws up a deal. Get the payoff. Get it correct. And I don't mean look at the payoff on their cell phone. No screenshots. While we're on the screenshot topic, screenshots don't work for very much anything. They just don't work because the copies just are terrible. We want to see the real deal. So the payoff. It's too easy to get a payoff. Here's what happened to me several times just this month. We worked a deal, and we worked the deal from top to bottom, and we just worked our ass off. We finally got it approved. And it was so tough. We had to cut the deal back. And I can tell you, we are not big fans of cutting a deal. Not where I work at. It's all about gross. We want units and gross. We want our salespeople to get paid. And I can tell you this, when your average commission is $800, you're doing a good thing. So don't screw it up by not getting the proper payoff. Here's what happens. You get the payoff. It's $500 short. We work our butt off to get the deal approved. Then when we finally get the payoff, we find out that the payoff was actually more, $1,000 more. We just wasted all that time. But what's even worse is if we find out it was $1,000 less and we would not have had to cut the deal at all. We would have been on a full gross deal. Your sales manager, your finance manager would not have, they'd still have some more hair in their head, and they'd like you a little bit more. When you submit a clean deal to finance, they get used to it. They can start trusting what you're putting on that application. But take your time. No shortcuts. I don't care if you've been doing this for 2 weeks or 20 years. You've got to do it the right way. I once had a friend of mine, a general manager, tell me, Terry, there's blanks on that application. And where there's a blank, there should be something filled in there. So make sure you put it in there. And I'm going to take it one step further and say, not only put it in there, but put the right information in there. Now, one last thing I want to talk about. Over the past couple of years during this COVID shit, things have changed a little bit on how we do business and how we interact with our customers. And what I've noticed, and it's quite, it's understandably makes a good point, is our demos. Back during the height of the pandemic, we kind of pitched the keys. We wiped down the seats, steering wheel, and everything for the customer, pitched them the keys and let them go in a demo by themselves because they didn't feel comfortable and maybe we didn't feel comfortable. So times have changed. And some of us still are a little bit concerned and some of us still wear the mask. I don't side either way, but you got to get back to being more personable with your customers. You got to go on the demo with them. If that means put a damn mask on, then put a damn mask on. But you're missing so much information from that customer. The highest emotional point of the sale is done during the demo. And if you're not there to enjoy it with them or hear their complaints or what they like about the vehicle, you're just going to wing it when you get them to sit down in the closing office. So let's get back to maybe fist bumping, but let's hop in the car and go with our customers on a demo. Times are changing. Most of us have been vaccinated. We've been stabbed a couple of times. So think about it. It's going to be hard to break that bad habit that we developed over the past couple of years, but it's costing you, your dealer, and your family some money. So get back to being a little bit more personal. Get those applications right. Get all the information up front, and let's make it a point from today to take our time when we're filling out this application and get all the proper information filled out right the first time. Remember, the sky's the limit. I'll see you again in a few weeks.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please rate it and write a review on Apple Podcast. We appreciate your valuable feedback. You can email Terry at 10minutesalestalk@hot.rr.com. And don't forget to share the show with a friend.